Hey everyone, welcome to episode 88 of the PiP Podcast. Today we're talking with Veronica Louro from Portugal. Welcome to the show. I can't wait to hear what it's like about creating art and sketch cards and all your projects that you're involved with over on that side. We've never had anyone from Portugal, so welcome to the show. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you a lot for having me.
Hey Veronica, we usually like to start in the past. Like, have you always drawn? What were your influences?
Well, my dad has been one of the oldest comic book artists here in Portugal. It's a very, we call it Franco-Belgium art style, which is very like, it's a very specific comic book style. And that's
I'm
pretty much
just
everything.
look that up. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. That's
Sure.
pretty much everything about comic books around here. Lately, we've been there's always obviously some people that love like Marvel and DC comic books and such, but it's mostly that style that works here. So I grew up like with my dad working on that, so I've been drawing ever since I was born, pretty much.
Would you say your dad was your inspiration, or did you have any particular comics that you really? Oh.
Not really anything specific, just very much seeing my dad do that and always loving to draw myself. I would just start doodling as well. Every time he was sketching, I would go and like draw next to him and such. So it was always like that.
Did you go on to study art, or is it something you've done on your own? Did you go to college for it?
No, interestingly, I never, because of the way art works here, which is, it's usually not a big thing, which is a shame. So everyone that usually goes to art school or something like that ends up doing something entirely different. And I always thought I'd rather try and do something else, and then I'll do that as a hobby, or if I can, I'll freelance. Just the usual.
What did you end up studying?
I did pretty much languages, the equivalent of languages. So I took a degree in English.
They say your English is fantastic.
And I then had a smaller course in post editing and video, something like that, but in Portuguese, obviously. But pretty much just, yeah.
So you can edit video as well.
Yeah,
That's a really good skill to have. Have you utilized that at all on online, or have you got on? I'm going to sound really old now, on the TikTok. Have you done any of those kind of videos?
I don't like TikTok. I'm not into that. I'll just do the regular Instagram, Facebook for art stuff, because that's the one that works better. So I have posted a couple on TikTok just to see if it would work, but I don't like the platform. So
no, it's very difficult. I've only just gone on there, and I don't. The way I work, it's not great for TikTok. They like to see this bit's done, that bit's done, that bit's done.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're somebody who skips around a picture, it doesn't really, not really great to watch. So your art style, it's very much influenced by the Belgian comics.
Not really. Like, I grew up with that, but my art style I don't think has anything to do with that style, which is more like the Asterix, Tintin. I don't know how you guys say it. We just say Tintin here. Like those characters that are very specific in style, and I always try to do something different, like my own style, because I started with random sketches, obviously, as a kid. And then I started doing portraits, like realistic portraits. I would like find a photo and do it, try to copy that ish. And then I started doodling a little bit more, and then I got into all these kinds of sketches and so on.
I like your style's really nice because you do really nice line work. One of my friends messaged me the other day actually, and she says this is the kind of thing I want to do, and she showed me one of your pictures.
Oh my god, that's so awesome! I love it.
So you've definitely got it going on. I would say it is a little bit comic booky though, with your outlines and
yeah, a little.
Well, when you were mentioning about comics, and yeah, I've just realized it's Tintin that you were talking about, and that's a big thing here in Quebec. Even now, I think all the comic books, well, it's like they call them bande dessinée here, and they've got them all in the school libraries and all the. I mean, there are conspiracy theory stories and all, not in Tintin, but in a lot of the others that are from Belgium and France. So the comic book industry really is strong over in over on that side of the pond.
I don't understand this word you're saying. How do you spell it?
It's TIN space TIN. I think it's two words.
Tintin.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Tintin with the little dog and the.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
So
snowy.
I've heard it pronounced in so many ways, so I wasn't sure how, if you knew it or how you would say it. But yeah, that's the one.
It was around a lot when I was a kid. Was Tintin. I don't see much of him nowadays.
Yeah.
But
in case you want to take a look, if you want to check my dad's work, it's my last name, obviously, but the first is Luís. So if you look Luís Louro, you'll find.
How do you spell him? How do you spell this?
Luis.
Louis Louro. Definitely, we'll take a look at that. So for you, how did you find, what was your first foray into sketch cards? Like, who introduced the idea to you that sketch cards existed?
Yeah, I had no idea that existed until a friend I know from the internet that collects Funko Pops like I do. She approached me and told me that she had a friend that collected this kind of art thing in the shape of cards. And I was like, huh? And he would be interested in talking to me because he liked my work. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. So that guy approached me and he said he's pretty much the only person that collects top Star Wars sketch cards that he knows of in Portugal. And he wanted me to commission a couple sketches, like in some blanks. He had just full blank cards. And I did some, and it was like, this is awesome. You should try and contact Tops. And I was like, I don't think that would work for me. I don't think I would be invited to work on that. And like a year after that, I got an email from Tops. It took a while for them to reach back. But that was it.
What was the first year you participated on a set?
Last year, March, I think, was the first set. I think it was Finest 22.
It's so exciting when you do your first one, isn't it? Were you scared to draw on it at first? Because you kind of sit in front of you and going, if I do it wrong, I can't, there's nothing I can do, that's it.
Pretty much, yeah. And even the quantity, because I do work rather quickly. At first I was like, oh, I'm only going to ask for like 30. I don't know if I can get this done. And then I would get them done like in 2 days. And I'm like, yeah, I could do a couple more.
So what materials do you use for your Tops cards?
I've used pencil. I've used watercolor pens. I now got some alcohol markers, some ohuhu. So just trying anything that I feel like using. But
you're
right
still
now,
in the stage where you're experimenting and finding out what works for you, what you can do quickest.
Yeah, it's still the same style. Like I started with pencils and then I started using the watercolor pens. and evolved my style a little. And now using the alcohol markers, it's pretty much the same as the watercolor. Just I guess the colors are a bit more vibrant. And I think it's still, I use whichever I feel like using. It's still the same, and I do like using both. So I guess
When
I
I
could
when
even.
I first started doing them, I really loved trying all different things, but it got to the stage where if I tried watercolor, it'd take me a lot longer than the
Mhm.
marker. So I had to just drop it because I was messing them up, trying to do it as quick
Yeah.
as I would with markers.
Well, that's interesting because I like using the markers. I feel like I take way longer with those than the watercolor pens, which I use like a brush pen, and I just
Oh,
grab,
right.
I'll pick the colors and then can use technically paint bigger areas faster. So I think
Sorry,
I
my
would.
cat's just turned up. I was like, what's that?
What's your
Oh, dear.
favorite medium to use for sketch cards? Is it different from what you like to use on artwork that you do for yourself or for other projects?
You mean like the pens and such, or the paper? Sorry, I
Anything
missed.
like
Oh no, it's not that different. I did get some blanks made for me, like I ordered a few to use, but besides that, it's pretty much the same kind of the same materials. I use the same kind of thing, and just different paper, Bristol, whatever I feel like using.
Do you mostly doing portraits then? Do you do any other kind of art? Have you thought about applying to any other sketch card companies?
I have, and I've actually worked for a couple sets for Upper Deck, and then some other smaller companies. Yeah, I feel like in total, I think I have made cards for like 4 companies, if I'm not mistaken. So
so do
yeah,
you
but it's
like
still, I think that Tops is still the biggest name, and I can sell my cards way better.
are you
Mm.
enjoying the sketch card experience, shall we say?
Oh yeah, I think I love it. I even got a lot of Artists Unite cards, blanks, just so I can
Mm.
just play around with them and draw whatever, and not just always Star Wars stuff. So I do
Yeah.
like it a lot. It's really fun.
What are some of the smaller companies you've been working for?
Um, R Parks cards. I think that's the name. So the
Yeah, Uncle
concept.
Richard.
Yeah, Richard is awesome. Um, Worked on Gabe's Cave now. I'm supposedly waiting to hear from. I'm forgetting the name of the company, but they were about to ship some cards. So I'm forgetting their name. And also for Dynamite, I was also waiting to hear for to hear the result, but supposedly I'm gonna work on that as well.
Very
Cool.
cool.
Yeah.
You're at that point in your career where you're like gonna go bang at it non-stop.
Oh
Like
yeah.
one year there was a point I had a stack like that to do in a month. It was a crazy month.
Oh gosh.
So do you do anything else besides sketch cards? Do you do any other art?
Yeah, the portraits I still do them, like either like um again the sizes are different for us. Either like printer paper shape size, we call it A4, or A3 with like the double, which is kind of like a bigger 8 per 10, and the double of that size, the American size. I don't know.
Are you finding that since you've been doing sketch cards, you kind of put more detail into your bigger stuff because you're used to looking at the tiny little parts of it? Have you seen
Yes and
your
no.
work change at all?
Yes and no. I haven't actually done one of those since before the summer. I haven't worked on one of those for a while. But something that I sometimes do is literally tiny portraits, like just with a mechanical pencil.
Mm.
Like tiny, on like a notebook. I have just the smallest I can, like put a coin next to it and do like the tiny face. So
Wow.
I
Like to
Yeah,
torture
there's
your eyes,
nothing more
right?
frustrating than tiny faces.
yeah, I don't know. I just find it quite funny. And it's interesting to see that it still works. And yeah.
Seeing as you live in quite the historical area, do you have any interest in going out and sketching on site and just drawing stuff that you see?
Never really captivated me.
No.
Just the landscape. Like I love, especially because I also have a passion for photography. I would mostly do that instead of drawing the landscape. That's the kind of thing I hate. I hate drawing backgrounds. I hate drawing the landscape because it's not my best skill. So usually whenever I go outside, I always have either my phone, or if I don't bring my camera, and I literally always take photos of anything that I find aesthetically pleasing, or yeah. So it's mostly photography.
So yeah, you're more interested in like faces and expression.
Yeah, characters, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever created any of your own characters or anything like that?
A couple, nothing big, but yeah, a little bit, just experimenting.
Do you see yourself creating any of your own sets of cards?
I don't know, like never thought of that, but it could be a cool idea. Just don't know if it would go anywhere, you know.
How hard is it or easy is it to make a living in Portugal with art?
Awful. That is actually terrible. It's mostly focused, like here it's either you're on TV and people care about that because yeah, or football or soccer for some, but football. We grab a newspaper or a magazine, it's all gossip or football or politics. Art is, let's say someone gets a Nobel Prize in something artsy.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
I don't know, sorry. I tried to rejoin as quickly as I could as well.
So tell us a little bit about, like, is art your main job?
For now, yeah.
So you're managing to make even if it's difficult and where you live, you're still managing to do what is your advice to anyone who lives in your neck of the woods to be able to make a living at it?
Work with outside with other, like go on the internet, find people from other countries, and that's how you can make something out of it. Because here, like I've had people ask me for, like I've had people like American, let's say for example, because I deal mostly with Americans, I guess, giving me more than I asked for a sketch card because they think my work deserves more than that. But in here, I've had some people approach me actually and try to get me to lower it the most, the how do I even phrase it?
Just to get it as cheap as possible.
Yeah. But I was trying to give like a bigger example, but I guess that works. Let's say giving random numbers. Let's say someone asks me for 10, and here I ask for 2, and they're like, maybe like 1 or less. And I was like, dude, how? So it's very...
You get to the point where you don't want to sort of give a discount if you meet too many people who want to knock down even lower.
Yeah, even portraits.
You know?
And even with portraits, I like if I ask for a specific number, they ask for less, and sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah," then I'll find someone else, you know.
So get off you go then. When I first started, I was doing portraits so cheap just to get the customer base up and the reputation and everything. And somebody wanted me to do a portrait of 3 cats on an A3, and I only quoted them 40 quid for a colour. So that would be what, I don't know, 80 Canadian.
Yeah, 75
Yeah.
maybe.
That was too expensive for them.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And then they went and complained to the friend about me, and I was just like, right, I'm not doing this anymore.
That has happened to me several times as well in the past, and it's extremely discouraging. People don't realize it takes a lot of time. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, you work.
Some people don't understand different materials either. Like I quoted somebody for an acrylic painting, and they said, "Oh well, this other woman says she can do it for half that in watercolor," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's because it's watercolor." Like, but anyway. Oh dear. What have you got any idea where you'd like to go in the future? Do you have a goal, or are you sort of just going with the flow at the moment and seeing
Yeah,
what happens?
mostly going with the flow. Like I'm enjoying doing it so far, and I will keep going and up until I can. So
There's
I would
always
like,
plenty of sketch cards to do. Isn't there?
yeah, that's true.
Is there a particular company that you're trying to contact to be a part of, or a set that you'd really like to be on?
Not really, mostly because I don't really know what's out there. Like sometimes people come talk to me and they're like, "Oh, did you ever heard of this guys?" And I was like, "No." You should message them. I'm like,
That's true.
"Okay, I might."
You're relatively new to the whole thing. It's only been what, a year maybe?
Pretty much almost two, but pretty much that, yeah.
Well, Lindsay, we'll have to put a little thumbtack on Veronica's file and visit her in 2 years and see if she still likes it or not.
It's just like,
That's pretty awesome. There are actually a lot of, I don't know if it's an industry that's growing or if it's shrinking, to be very honest with you, because it's like when it shrinks here, well, it grows there, you know, it's very fluid and all that
Mm,
stuff.
I think we miss the art collectors. I mean, you have the franchise collectors like your Star Wars and everything,
Yeah.
mm,
but for people who do collect art, you want them to know that they exist because they're affordable and you can have so many from so many different artists. I'm just not sure that they're aware of them, or maybe it's not their thing. I don't know.
Do you have art collectors in Portugal? I mean, well, I mean, of course you do, but I mean, is it like a, I don't know, a real thing, or is it really just football?
I actually don't know. Besides the people that I know that go to, because we have a kind of a comic book festival that always happens like this year, and I work there, part of the staff, so that's fun. Um, it's been on like I think it's the 34th year in a row they've been doing this, and there's some big fans of like either the Franco-Belgian style or even other stuff that all always go there. So at least there, it's good and great to see that there are people that actually love this kind of thing. And also a Comic Con. We also host a Comic Con. Like it's way more recent, and at least there it's great to see people that actually do care. But again, the budget is always very small because people also because it's really hard to like our payments, our pays, our paychecks are not the best, so that's also because we're all small country, so it's very difficult to balance everything. So art is usually not at the top of the list for people, which is a shame.
Mm.
So
Like I know during lockdown, we were selling so much art because people had spare money. You
Yeah.
know, now they're spending it on going out and having a life again.
Mhm. Sure.
How dare they?
So you
Oh
have
dear.
no particular like goal, like in a few years, I'd like to be able to draw this or create that, or have no, just having a good time with it, which is nice.
Yeah, nothing specific. Like I would like to work on like with bigger companies, of course, and doing something uh bigger. I just don't know what that is, but I will find out. I'll try to find out. I don't know exactly the goal, but I do want to keep going, and if I can, to go up.
Well,
That makes it a really fun journey, I think. That's pretty much like what I was doing, just, you know, going along and seeing what came of it and what will happen. And if you're not so set in what you're looking for, then, you know, you're not going to miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I'll try that. Just try everything.
It's true. Eh? It's fun to kind of treat it all like a buffet and just try everything and see what happens.
Yeah.
You should really try some of your own sets. Maybe you could, you know, printing some of your own work. Maybe you could go to the Comic Cons and the comic book things, and maybe you can just spread it around a little bit.
Yeah, I've thought about that, but even selling prints and such, it's really difficult. Like,
yeah, I guess you don't have.
You could start small with like an autograph card. Get one of your favorite pieces of work, get it printed on a little card with a little empty box on, and then you can sign that, and it'll have all your details on the back, a bit like a business card, but you know, like collectible. I think they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
I wish I got one of them before.
Have one now, Lindsey. Actually, do you have an autograph card?
It's going to be that lenticular that we've just sent off.
Oh yeah, that's right.
it's cool.
Well, do you have any advice for people who are like new into the domain of like you are, as new as you are? Like, well, let's rephrase that. How you got into tops? How did you do it? As an example for someone else who might like to try to work for tops, for instance, or another company.
On how I approach them?
Yeah, did you just keep sending samples, or did someone share info with you, or how did it work?
I actually don't remember how I got their email, but it was the artist. I know, actually, I think I went to the website and looked up the artist side of it and just emailed them and sent some samples of my work, and that I would be interested in working for their sets if they were interested to have me. So I pretty much just did that. Same with the other companies. I sent some photos of some of my other cards and ask if they would be interested in having me in some sets. So that's usually worked, not for all, but I think that's the best way. If you don't have the emails or the access, look for it. Don't think it's that difficult, and we can find some great things.
You did it exactly the right way. You went to the website, you found the contact info, you sent it, and it seems to be working really well. Yeah. Well, that's great.
And then you wait.
Yeah, that's the worst part, not knowing.
for the first week after you send it, you're checking your email all the time, and then you're like, yeah. And like you say, 9 months, a year later, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, I totally thought I would not have a chance with tops, and then like almost a year later, oh hi, would like just the invitation email for the set.
Yeah.
We're asking you to invite to work on this set. These are the information thingies, and that was it.
That's exciting.
Do you find your skills getting better? You know, with the sheer amount you have to do and the speed you have to do it in. Have you noticed like that's getting easier than it was?
Yeah, in a way, yes, because it's a lot of practice. Since the first set and like the most recent ones, I look at them and I see a lot of improvement. But it's also sometimes kind of exhausting because they give us such a small window of time that we kind of have to rush through them a little bit to have something to send back. So I guess I can say yes, but it's also a little no.
Are you a collector like Lindsey? So like you were talking about Funko Pops, and I see you have other things behind you. What do you like to collect? What do you enjoy?
Mostly like I play. I have like my video games there, and I have a lot of pops. Like I have a big, I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can turn it around. I have like a big shelf.
Oh, love the light up shelf. That's cool.
Yeah. And then behind me on this side, I have some statues I've made. With
You made?
Yeah.
Can we see?
Yeah, can we see?
Show
Yeah.
us, show us.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Ooh, it has a proper door and everything. Oh, wow.
Oh, beautiful. Love a display.
Like these are some that I've made.
Wow. What are they made from?
Sorry?
What have you made them from?
Oh,
Little nightmares.
yes.
Oh, love it. That's really cool.
I just got some polymer clay during the lockdown, and I was like, I'm gonna try this, and started doing them, and I really love it. So
cool.
They are really good. I started making a Princess Leia about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not finished.
All should be. I'm guessing it'd be awesome.
It's like when you can take a little break and actually, do something, because it's like, when art becomes your job, doing something like sculpture becomes like a fun side hobby, doesn't it? So
everything becomes like a fun side hobby when you're doing art all the time.
True.
Well, that's what do you think you'll do anything with your sculptures? They're really, really cool.
So far, I just either like I'm playing something or I'm watching something, and I think, oh, I could buy some statues of it instead of that, which is something I used to do for some characters or whatever. I just why I'm gonna try and make them. So I make my own collectibles whenever I'm like, because it's so impulsive in a way. I'm normally going on about my business. I'm like, I could do this, and then tomorrow, the day after, I do that. So it's very, very that.
I was thinking the other week actually about maybe 3D sketch cards. Use the polymer clay to sculpt the face and kind of. I don't think anybody. I haven't seen anybody do that. Have you seen anybody do that?
Yes, there is. I'll try to remember to send a link for that. But I think there are two artists that I think it's Mick and something Glebe.
Oh, did Mick and Matt Glebe do it?
I think so. I believe it seems to me years ago they were doing 3D cards. They had cards where they had like things coming out and stuff like that. But I mean, that's not a copyright thing. Well, I mean, unless
Well, no.
You could try doing it.
Whatever you think of, somebody's usually thought of it before.
Would love to see one of your cats coming out of a card.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that could be nifty.
I'll probably just do the butts. There's a butt sticking out.
Or your willies.
Oh, don't need to do it on one of those. Oh my
god. So we're gonna let you get back to work in just a second. Do you have any last words or advice that that you'd like to share with us, or ideas that you have percolating in your mind?
Not particularly, but all I can say is keep doing art. If it's something you love, even if it's hard to get by with, keep going, because why not? If it's great for you, it's great. So that's all that is about life.
And
great advice.
Gotta get the Portuguese Portuguese group of artists a little bit bigger, and the sketch card community a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I brought my sister in as well because she also paints.
Awesome.
And I got her into tops, so she's also already working on a few sets by now. So far we're the only Portuguese people working for tops and sketch cards in general. So that's pretty.
I had a little nosy at your dad's art as well. It's really cool. You'll have to check it out. Check out Veronica's dad as well. His name Louis Louro. I don't want to butcher the name. You say it.
Louis Louro.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, and where can people find you?
Social media, Instagram, Facebook is easily. My name is quite distinct, so if you type Veronica Louro, anywhere. You just bump into me, you find it. So
you'll send me links to all your socials that you use a lot of, and yeah, everyone has to go off and see your work, and we'll share your dad's link too if I can find it. And yeah, what's your next set? Can you talk about what your next set is going to be? Your next project? Is it with Tops or somebody else?
I'm waiting for the next invitations from Tops, which are still kind of in the air. But I'm expecting to work for perhaps. Wait, you mean the ones that I have completed and should be coming out, or the ones I'm going to work on next?
Well, the ones you're going to work on next, if you're allowed to say.
I still don't really know.
Okay.
The ones you've got coming out.
Yeah, the ones I have worked on that are about to come out, I can say, because those I know for sure because I've worked on them. So,
okay, so what's the one that's just come, the latest one?
The next one about to come out would be Finest.
Star Wars Finest.
Star Wars Finest, yeah.
Okay, great.
Very cool.
Do you have any last questions, Lindsey?
I don't. It's been awesome to meet Veronica today. I've seen her around quite a bit, so it's been lovely to talk to you.
Oh yeah.
Get to know. I love your collection and your sculptures.
And
yeah, obviously.
Well, thank you so much for having joined us. And like Lindsey said, it's been really nice to get to know you.
You too. Thank you so much for asking me. It's really great.
Oh, I know how busy you are. It was difficult to pin you down, but we finally got you.
Finally, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again. Can't wait to see how it works out for you. You'll have to come back on and let us know.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.